Our last speaker of ASA International Forum 2024 is Ma Yansong, founder and principal partner of MAD Architects, on the topic of landscape in motion. If everyone registered for this session, join us to welcome Ma Yansong.
Okay. Should we start? We start? Okay. Hello, my name is Ma Yansong. I'm an architect from MAD Architects in Beijing. So today I'm going to talk about my projects. The title is a landscape in motion because I think a lot of my project has to do with the nature. Here is a photo of a city of Beijing. So that's also the place I grew up. You see a lot of nature in the city center. There's an island, there's a mountain, water. All this landscape was part of the design of the city, right? And we did a project many years ago in the city. You see this model, there are some blue bubbles. You see these small houses. We insert some blue bubbles in this context. It's actually some toilets. You see these metal objects with a reflection in the metal. So it's a private toilet we insert into different courtyards. So you see new and old, they coexist together. Why reflection? Because you have this organic shape with the toilet functions in it, but the appearance can reflect the surrounding. So the object can disappear into the context. So you see all this reflection of the sky, the land, the trees. And then later we work on this project. It's a renovation of a tower in Paris. So this tower, we also use this reflection as a way to make the tower disappear, right? This is a tower called Montparnasse Tower. It's a black color right now, but Paris people want to change it. They want to renovate. So our design was to make this optical illusion on the building facade. So everything reflected is upside down. So you will see the Eiffel Tower also upside down from this angle. And then later, we built some buildings like this. This is a long time ago, almost 20 years ago. We built these two towers in Canada. They call this the Marilyn Monroe Tower because there's a curvature, right? At that time, we want to do something really close to nature. So we think the high-rise building doesn't have to be the monument of power and capitalism. They can be something really organic and natural. So in this case, we have this horizontal balconies, and we make this shape. This is another tower we built in Beijing. You see, we start from a sketch. This also looks like mountains, and this river valley in the middle. And then we made the architecture model, and then we built a building. You see this black tower in the city center in front of a park. So we try to make this building as a part of the nature. So from the park, you see this almost like a black mountain. And this is a painting drawn by a Chinese art critic. He often draw this traditional Chinese painting with a modern architecture insert into these classic paintings. So in this painting, you see the black tower on the far right. This is actually modern architecture. But we try to make new building that can live in the traditional context. However, in reality, our building look different because the modern city already look different from that classical context. You see the boxes. This high-rise building look like a concrete forest. What we're trying to do is not doing that. We try to make architecture as a second nature. So from the park, when you look at the project, you think, oh, that could be an extension of the nature, go into the urban environment instead of building a wall only facing the nature as a boundary in between the nature and the city. On the other side, we also create this green valley as a public urban space where people can go there and enjoy the nature. But the result is the building really look futuristic. Some people think that's weird. That's so different. But I was thinking to make something really contextual and classic, and something reference the traditional paintings. However, in reality, the context already changed. So people think this is different. These are balconies. So that's the landscape. You see the building is totally new, but atmosphere is something related to the past. Here's another project in Beijing as well. You see there's a new building and the old building coexist together. It's a kindergarten as a school for kids. The courtyard in the middle, they're old. They're like 300 years old. And we're building these new classrooms around these old houses, and new and old become one kindergarten. So kids can use classroom inside the new building, also use the old classroom in the courtyards. So here you can see new and old, they're connected. So above this new classroom, we make this colorful roof as a playground for kids. So we made the new courtyard around those old trees, so to allow the natural ventilation, natural light into the classrooms. And from this courtyard, the kids can go up to the roof to use the roof as a playground. So it's important we keep this new building as a single floor. So from the old building, you actually don't see the new building because this is a really low structure. But you can go through the new and old building as a spatial experience. That's continuous. You can enter here, the old gate, and then you discover the new building. We also made another kindergarten in Japan. So here you see this model of this design of a kindergarten with a wood structure in the center. That wood structure was already exist there. That's actually a structure for old house. So we kept that structure. Also, we want to use it for this new building. So that's a ceremony. They pray for the land. And the kids, that's a future student for the kindergarten. They had this memory. And then we built a new building. That looks different from all the other traditional architecture. But once you go inside, you'll find this old structure. The structure was the memory of an old house. So basically, they try to demolish the old house and build a new building, but we suggest they can keep the structure. So I think that's important for the kids who grow up here. They have a memory, where this new building come from. This from a memory of an old house. So that's how I think a new architecture can be contextual, because that's related to people, memory, and life. the appearance, of course, it looks different. It's a new material, new color, but there is something continuous from the past to the future inside the building. This is another project in different scale. That's a really large project in China. Also deal with the land. It's a stadium. It's a lot of a stadium, actually. It's almost become urban space. We make all this stadium architecture disappear into the green land. So here you see the building facade disappear, and we cover the building with a green. And they look like volcanoes. You can walk around those volcanoes, and you can climb those volcanoes. So you can find a way to interact with the building. What's inside? You have a big space. You have a large span as a structure. That's a stadium inside. That's a swimming pool. You have a natural light, natural ventilation, and you have a unique structure as well inside. And that's the open stadium we already completed. So you can see, once you go there, you don't see large monument, but you see a really open space as a natural park. So you can go there, enjoy this nature like daily. You don't have to use it only for competitions, but the whole space become an open park. So that's a bird view of the stadium. So right now we're still constructing those indoor stadiums. So in the end, overall, will become a really large open park. Underneath the green, you have all the concrete structures. You have this, entrance, the car parks. So that's overall. You see the park in the city. We need a void. We need an open space. So you see these towers, they're growing. Eventually, you will see a lot of buildings. So I think how to make a program, you make buildings, but at the same time, you make building disappear into the land. You make more space for people to use. I think that's important. This is another small project, a tiny library in Hainan. It's an oceanfront structure. We call this a cloudscape library. It looks like a white cloud, but you can go into the structure and discover the space inside. So there's a lot of outdoor space inside the structure. This all cast concrete objects with everything continuous as one surface, the roof, the floor, the wall. There's no columns in this structure. So here's like an indoor space. You can see the surrounding. This is actually the structure. The structure become all the continuous, fluid, smooth surface. So the mechanical, the lighting, everything is hidden into this concrete surface. So that's what you see inside the space. You have a really bright light from the top. You have a darkness, so you see the depths of the space. That's a reading area. You can also look at the ocean outside the building. So it's almost become like a cave. You can observe the nature from very unique angle. So it's more like a observation installation, almost like this. So that's a staircase, that's a reading area. That's also the reading area. You can look at the ocean. Here's the special reading area for kids. Only the children, they can go inside because the scale of the space is low. So they can go there and lie down there and reading books. Here's another case. We made architecture as a nature experience. It's an opera house in Harbin, a northern part of China. So the landscape is like really flat. You see this river, and the wetland park is a huge horizon. So you make the building like almost like the mountain, blend into this horizon. So the land and the building become one thing. Along the slope, it's building facade, but it's actually the steps where you can walk onto the building. So the building become accessible from outside. So this is a path along the facade. You can, everyone can go up and eventually arrive the roof where we have this amphitheater. They can look at the sky, they can look at the surrounding. So the building become, not only the shape is continuous with the landscape, but also the experience. So people go there to this beautiful park, and they can continue, they can climb the building, they can tour around and outside this building, and they can look at the view around the building. And that's what's inside. That's an auditorium with a lot of natural light. So once you go inside the building, it almost feel like outdoor space, a lot of light. Inside the auditorium, we also bring the natural light from outside. So it's a lot of lighting and shadows. So you show the depths of the space. Come back to the city. We built this residential tower in Paris, in France. So that's the tower actually come out of a master plan where every architect designed one building. So it's like a collective result of many different design as a new housing area for people. So we designed, for example, this one, and our neighbor is our partner. They designed another building, but we share the same podium. We have the kindergarten, the shoppings at the podium for everyone to share. So our design, you can see we use a lot of curves. So we build a lot of balconies, outdoor space. So we call this outdoor gardens, vertical gardens for this high-rise residential building. So here the view towards Eiffel Tower, big terraces, outdoor balconies. In this project, we start to use a freehand to design instead of a computer. So we want to come back to this emotional reaction to the freelance, to the nature. So you can see all this balcony edge look all different. So we combine all this together. Overall, the building look like organic, moving structure. It doesn't have a clear shape. So that's the base. And we're also building this is in America, city of Denver. We're building apartment building with a green canyon in the middle. So you see this some plants. We insert those plants into this glass box. The glass box is the residential apartment building, and this green area is actually amenities, public functions. So people can go outside, they can enjoy this park inside the tower, right? So this is like one of the space. You have a water feature, you have a waterfall actually coming down from the upper level to lower level. But here you can see the mountains and the landscape around the building. This is a construction photo in the process. Actually, next week I'm going to this construction site. They're planting the greens into this area. So you can see eventually we use more and more hand drawings. In last project, all this organic canning, we call this canning space, was also almost like a handmade sculptural space. And here's another project in Holland, in Rotterdam, where we're actually building a museum of migration. So in this sketch, you see this tornado kind of structure, right? It's like a wind insert into a long concrete building. So that's basically the design of this tornado. It's actually a staircase, a spiral staircase, but two staircases, they lock into each other as one structure. And we insert this structure into this warehouse. This warehouse was old structure on the seafront of Rotterdam. So that's where in the old time, the European people, they take a boat, depart for America, for New York. They leave from this dock. So there's a lot of memories about this history. So they want to make the whole project as a museum to tribute to this history. So that's basically our design, to make a staircase from inside the building, eventually go through the roof and become the view platform above the building. So you can see this, the tornado bring a lot of energy into the old structure. That's the model of this staircase. And we're making the mock-up. It's also stainless steel with reflection of the surroundings. And some construction photos is still ongoing, where the museum will open next year. So you see these cantilevers and the reflection and the staircase responding the surrounding to show all the environment, and at the same time disappearing and merge into the surroundings. That's some details of the construction. It's really computer controlled construction, really accurate, but overall you can see the first sketch. It's really emotional and almost random, the first drawing. So that will be the experience. Once you go there, you can walk around the city in the sky. We're also building this big museum project in Los Angeles. It's called the Lucas Museum of Narrative Arts. It's funded by George Lucas, the Star Wars director. And he has a lot of collections we're going to show in this museum. But you can see this building almost like a floating structure, because we want to keep a lot of nature and green underneath the building, at the same time create some more green above the building. So it's become a horizontal building, very long, and the bottom becomes smaller, so allow more public space and more green space underneath the building. And on top, we have solar panels. We also have some roof gardens. At the same time, we create this arch. There's a big outdoor space underneath the building in the middle. So it's almost become the gateway. It's like urban space inside the building, but it's outdoor. So you can enter the museum from here, or you can just pass by. You can go to other museums, because it's called an exposition park. There are also other museums, like a natural history museum, space museum next door. So you can go there as well. So here is a gateway. You can go through. You can go either side as exhibition lobby, also education part of the museum, or you can just look at the sky. So the building is under construction right now. We're also scheduled to open the museum next year. So here's this museum also really computer controlled each panel, each member of structure, but overall, the shape is almost shapeless. You don't have a clear shape of the building. From different angle, the building look a little different because it's come out of a freehand drawing. And this is a model of a museum in China. Also, we're doing the construction right now. It looked like a series of stones, right? And you see the land is also undulating, go up and down. It's actually the roof of the museum. Underneath, there's more space. But we treat the roof as an open park. So the idea is you bury some program under the green roof so you can open up the roof as a park area. And then you put the stone as a special exhibition space inside the park. It's actually located in this kind of area. It's really important oceanfront in Shenzhen. It's surrounded by all these high-rises. So I think it's important not building a big volume here. Instead, you provide more open space, or like a green space for people. So it's almost become a sculpture park, right? You go in there, you find all these strange shape structures. Well, actually, inside each stones, they're unique exhibition spaces. The interesting thing is when you're inside the city and look at this building, the background is nature. It's the ocean, right? It's the ocean, mountain, so all the nature element. So suddenly you realize this building can be there like a billion years ago. It's like from old time, from ancient time. It's like a big rock or something. So it's different from the view when you have the modern architecture as a background. So I think that make me think, when you make something cultural, contextual, maybe the context can be really long time. It's like ancient future. Can be, you can drag this time space to a very large scale. So we don't only live in the modern period of the city, we can also experience a lot of different things. So there's a construction image. We are also opening this museum next year. In the same city, in Shenzhen, we are also constructing this. It's a gateway to a train station, but it's a museum as well of the space above the park, right? So you have 4 legs as a structure, and the museum in the center above the green, and on the ground level you have the park and a lot of cultural functions underneath. So we're thinking to have a lot of urban events underneath this structure, as a concert, like games, a lot of things. At the same time, everyone can go up to the roof to enjoy the view as a public plaza, but it's floating. So this large span is really like a 400-meter long. It's really special structure. And inside the leg, you have an elevator moving you like going up with angle, like the ski lift, when you go ski. So here's the space underneath this structure. You can be in all the surrounded by the green, the nature. This is the last image. I try to show you a different scale, really small scale. It's in Japan, art project. You see this green valley with a river in there. And on the side, there's a cave. There's a tunnel. So inside this tunnel, there was a concrete tunnel, but they want to transform into art space. And I made this very simple a solution. We put the reflection material on the wall, and we put the water from the river into the cave. So you can walk on the water, very shallow water, and then you can go to the edge and look at the river outside. But once you go in there, other people will look at you. They will think you are walking on the edge of the sky and the water, and reverse the sky, right? Because the mirror reflection. So that's something remind me how we feel about the nature, because everything here is a nature. But what we have done is to create a mirror effect. So there's some atmosphere about the nature, but beyond the nature. So I think that's something I was thinking about architecture, because everything we're doing is man-made. In the city, in the countryside, it's a man-made, but we try to use a man-made structure to show our emotional reaction towards the nature around us. It's not a real nature, right? But it can be a new poetic atmosphere around the nature topic. So I think that's some theme around all my practice. When I talk about the nature, we all talk about sustainability, green architecture, about the data, about the physics. What about we extend this topic into more spiritual and emotional side of the nature? Because that's something I find really interesting from the past, from the traditional architecture, from the old city planning. They were built around human spirit and showing the appreciation about the nature. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma Yansong, for exceptional and inspiring sessions. Next will be Q&A session, which will be around 10-minute session. This session will be moderated by Namtip Yamali, Deputy Director of Chulalongkorn University. Please welcome our moderator.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Muang, and welcome to Bangkok, because he just arrived last night, and right after the sessions, he had to head to the airport. So I will do the sessions very quickly. I will start with my impressions from your work. I can see your architecture, which is in your case, it looks very futuristic. It's blend perfectly with the nature, and on the other hand, in the future, nature seems to give way to the new development, and it's kind of the opposite sides. So what is your visions for the future architecture or the future city?
Because I can start from something I don't like, because I see some buildings talk about the nature, but they look the same as before. So I was thinking, when we talk about nature, what about this topic? Actually, I have an interesting observation. What if the Earth was a plastic ball without anything? So are we going to preserve it, or we want to change it? I think what's beauty about nature is the diversity. There are a lot of things, and so we feel a lot of things when we see them. Not only the green trees, but also ocean, desert, rocks, everything we feel we can connect to them. So it's really diverse. What if we talk about this emotion when we talk about architecture or the urban development?
Yeah, we can see the your work is very emotional because it's not just the architecture or the nature, but also the interaction between people within the architecture. So yeah.
Well, actually, I showed the first photo. It's Beijing city, right? It's the old classic planning. But if we imagine the classic gardens, Japanese gardens, Chinese gardens, the building objects was never the only thing. It's always coexist with other things, the trees, the rock, the water, and also all these elements has to curate plant in certain way to achieve this experience or atmosphere or whatever. So that the goal is when people go in there, they find their spirit or their emotion are connected to something or go beyond something. I think that's a great architecture. That's why we still keep those buildings as a cultural heritage because they have this value. I think in modern world, modern buildings is totally missing this. We talking about objects more than the spirit thing.
That's why your architecture is very exceptional. So I will leave the questions to the floor. So I think like you might have some more questions because we are running out of time. Any questions? Okay.
My name is Pisit Royanavanish. I noticed from your work, I think there's a notion of the Chinese thinking on yin and yang, because mostly my observation is that most of your form, is a yin, it's more like a feminine, right? More curvilinear, more horizontal. That's why it's merging very well with nature. And also, when you build it in a city, it becomes a counterpoint, of the city, which is quite yang, a lot of vertical architecture and sharp edges and all that, So in that case, my feeling is that you are quite influenced by ancient thinking, You alluded to some kind of a feng shui or whatever in the old Chinese treatise, about yin and yang, about the balance of the universe and all that. Thank you.
Okay. So any more questions? Okay, back there. Basic questions at the back.
Hello. Okay, so thank you for inspiring presentation. I think you mentioned about you use physics and nature and everything to run like your thought and notion to the projects that you have done. My question is, like sometimes when you create, the design from the sketch and you're trying to put it into computer, there's a moment that the computer might generate something that doesn't, like that accurate to your sketch, and that's where the physics come involved. So I think my question is, do you allow the physics to get involved and lead the design, or you keep your sketch, your main idea as it was?
I try to separate different phases. I think the first phase is a more artistic phase. I want to keep my original, responding to whatever the issues I see. So I try to keep my sketch. I think the sketch keep most. I don't know. Sometimes the randomness is also part of it, but eventually you need to go into the the realization process. That process involves a lot of technology. You want to use all the tools necessary to realize whatever you have done. Yeah, I think this is quite clear for me, the two different phases. I think it's important for the first phase to be really connect to your emotion. Because I don't think, now when you look at the architecture history, there's no absolutely right or wrong. You know, there's just a proof that how people think, how they dreaming things, how they, angry about something or ambitious about something. It just shows. So maybe in the future, it's important, even making mistakes. So AI never make mistakes, and in the future, the AI will rule everything and following correct logic that we already established for AI, right? So maybe for human being, making a mistake is very important. It's very meaningful for other people. You see something is good building, but you feel something complex. So that's something important as a viewer, also as a creator.
So do you start with the hand drawing or sketch every project?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
The sketch you can done in 1 minute.
Yeah.
But you probably will take a couple of days, go there, meeting people, knowing the history, and then you have all the complex information in the back of your head, but the reaction, I can have multiple solutions, but I want to respect the instinct. So maybe that's the most important thing.
Like directly from your brain. Okay, I think we have only last questions, the times for the last questions.
Hi, I'm over here. Just in order to understand your architecture more, and I look at your background, you graduated from Beijing University, right? And then you went to Yale University. So my question is, and your architecture is, I have to say, very different from typical Chinese architecture. So I would like to know what's different from Beijing University to Yale University, and whether your education at Yale University, what did it teach you, or did it guide you in a certain way that you produce your architecture today?
Certainly, different schools, they're different. And the environment, all the environment also different. But I think that as a designer, you're always trying to be different from the environment as well. So when I was in college, I find, my work is different. Then I think later on, I find that's become something really important. As a student, sometimes you like many things. But when I realized that, I try to not doing those things, not everything necessary that I like. I want to find what's inside you is different from the other people. And then later on, you see, I build a lot of these special things. You find actually there are many people that think they agree with you. They're not necessarily always against you because you're special. They agree with you, but you need to show that. So people agree with you, they can see that, and they can support. Because in the end, all the public buildings are public for everyone. I think as an architect, people are expecting you to have a unique view, unique value, unique design to show to everyone. So they realize, this is something we were waiting for. We want something like this, or we don't want something like this. So they can discuss about this unique outcome. And then the architecture become public value after. So I think showing the uniqueness, it's a starting point to starting this dialogue.
Thank you, Ma, for lecture today, and we can see your exceptional work. That's very, like we can see like the coexist that we have to think about when we design something like the new architecture that we are creating that coexists with the nature. And this is the landscape in motion, very emotional. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, our esteemed speaker and moderator for the Q&A session. We learned a lot from that. On this occasion, we would like to invite Mr. Chana Sampalang, the immediate past president of ASA, to give a souvenir to our honored speaker. This is the final session of our forum, the ASA International Forum 2024. At this moment, I would like to invite Mr. Asay Sukhyang, President of ASA, also Chairman of ASA Expo 2024, and our moderator, join for the group photo session on the stage. We have our President of ASA, Chairman of ASA Expo 2024. And this is the final session of the forum. Please give a big round of applause to Ma Yansong. Thank you very much for the wonderful session.